T, and this is the Limping Helpers podcast. It's a wonderful pleasure to have you guys on again. If this is your first time coming on, I say, hey, welcome. And if you've been listening, even to the audio podcast episodes, I say, hey, well, go on. Hello, welcome. How you doing? What's going on? Sit down. Let's have a chat. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just all fun and learning, isn't it? It's just for us to just sit together and enjoy, have a soul time. One day I hope I can have like a live session where I have chats with people and that come on the show eventually. Don't worry, it would happen soon. It would happen soon. Hey, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you really enjoy this video. And just support. I want to hear what you want to say. I want to hear how you want to, your inputs. I want to hear what you feel about the video. So please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also, just ring the notification bell so you get an update when there's a new video on. And yeah, just let's have fun with this one. Today I'm talking about fasting. And I'm talking about it because it's an interesting topic in the sense of we have a general view of it, we have a general perception to it. We have like a natural understanding in the sense of what fasting is. Not just even in the Christian scene, but people even do intermittent fasting, for health reasons, for fitness reasons, for the weight loss and things like that. So generally there's already an understanding of what fasting is. When you ask anybody randomly, they'll tell you it's just staying away from food. But as Christians, does fasting just means going hungry? Does fasting just means not eating? Is that all it means to us? Because for us, everything we do has like a spiritual impact. I mean, everything in the world has a spiritual impact, but we just have a more direct view to it. We have a direct understanding to it. We know the implications of the things we do as Christians. So it's not just random things. We don't just do random things. We don't do random in the house of God. No, there's nothing random in the house of God. Everything has a reason. Everything has a particular way. Sometimes we don't totally understand it. Sometimes we don't even know it fully, but we understand because we know that all things work together for those that love God. So yeah, we're rest assured we're comfortable with it. Now I'm talking about fasting in the sense of why do we do it? Because I don't know about you, but for me, yeah, you see, when I started fasting proper, because when I became a Christian, yeah, it was more a thing of sleeping all through my fasting period. So maybe I wanted to fast till 4 o'clock, for instance. I would probably sleep till like around 2 o'clock, and then or sleep till 12 o'clock. I mean, I sleep very late normally, generally. Maybe sleep around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So I sleep till maybe 12 o'clock, and then I watch 1 or 2 movies, and by that time it's like already 3 o'clock, and then you just try to do some other things before you get, your normal routine going. It's already 4, and you're like, oh yeah, it's time for me to go and eat again. When in reality, that's not what fasting is. Do you see what I mean? Because I don't know about you, man. You see, when it's like, if I'm fasting at 4, when it's like 3:55, oh my god, 3:55, my mind is going everywhere. My stomach is rumbling. My system is just it's just AYR. I get pissed easily. I just get angry easily. Everything just I don't know. It just goes. It just goes left, to be honest. And it's all because I'm looking forward to eating. Because I'm like, I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm a little bit weak. I'm a little bit tired. I don't have enough strength to do things. So if you want a lot of things from me, if you're demanding too much from me, I get pissed. I get irritated. And then I was having a conversation later on previously with a friend, and we were just talking about the whole idea of fasting and how we fast and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I just realized not too long ago that fasting itself it's not about the food you're staying away from. It's not about not eating. You can fast with anything, I realized. So you can fast with everything, anything and everything. Even the Paul the Apostle was talking about fasting, but for married people, but we're not going to all them areas because yeah, I can't relate. So yeah, it's just interesting to see that sometimes we try, and there's this thing that we do as Christians, myself included, where we try to tick the box. We try to say, oh yeah, because the Bible says fast always or fast often. We fast by going hungry just so we can tick that box of, oh, for this week or for this month, I have fasted so and so time. When in reality, it's just like, bruv, you just went on a hunger strike. You just went on a hunger spree. Let me call it that. And it's not what God wants, because we just did it to check that box. We just try to impress God. Or sometimes we do these things, to be honest, to impress our fellow Christians, in a sense of, oh, I want them to see me as a serious Christian. Oh, I can fast. Yes, I can fast from 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 in the evening. And it's like, bruv, that's the reward. You get what I mean? It's like God does not recognize that. And it's interesting to realize this. Interesting in the sense of, now I know these things and I can now do them properly, because he's the one who gives the will and the power to do. If you see what I mean. So it's like, wow. A lot of times, them times when I was waiting for my barbecue ribs, at 3:55 or at 5:55, I'm waiting on my barbecue ribs, I'm waiting on my Nando's, I'm waiting on my McDonald's. I don't know what it is you enjoy, my chicken and stuff like that. And I'm like, it just means that God's just looking at me like, bro, what are you doing, bro? You're not even doing nothing. You're just wasting time. You're just staying hungry and you're focusing on food. So it's just wild to see how that has happened in my life. I don't know about any other person, but how that has happened in my life. And I feel confident and I'm like, hey, I have fasted today, God's just gonna bless me for nothing. And it's like, looking back at it, I'm just like, man, it was just the mercy of God. Honestly, it was just the mercy of God. When I did those things and got what I wanted, or what I believe God wanted to give me, or what I wanted God to give me, it was just His mercy. It was just looking at me like, little God, just have it. You see what I mean? Because he's I believe He's like, you would understand. You really understand what you're doing soon. You understand later on. So it's like, wow. So one thing I want us to take from all of the whole waffle and banter that I've been doing for a few minutes now is, you cannot fast to impress God. There's no way you can fast to impress God. He's not fazed by that. He's not fazed even by our crimes, to be fair. He's not fazed by our emotions and stuff like that. He's fazed with what really gets Him is our faith. What really gets Him is our call for Him. What really gets Him is what our works, even sometimes. In the book of Revelation chapter 3, or even in the first few books of Revelation, you see He says, I know your works, I know what your works, I know your works. So in a sense, you see what I'm saying? So when we use fast as a tool to impress God and say, hey Bobs, I can do this, I'm stunting in this Christian race, I'm stunting. It really does not do nothing. God is just like, nah. You see what I mean? and I know it's funny now to say, but it's just the truth. It's the truth. God is not impressed by how well we fast, how much of a fast we do, how long we go without food. It's not the hunger that really matters. It's what we do in that period. What does fast really mean, if we were to think about it? Fast is basically separating ourselves from the world, or unplugging from the world or from our regular routines, and plugging into God. So you are taking out that time to intentionally stay away from some things that glorify your flesh, that you gain pleasure from, and plugging into God, or plugging to His Spirit. So basically, what we're doing when we fast is not just stay away from food. It's not just go hungry and be like, yo, I'm good. It's gonna be 5 o'clock soon. Fam, let's just go and watch some movies. So by the time we're done with the movies, already 5 minutes past 6, and then we can just quickly, pop the food in the microwave, or whip up the food, or order the food online, or whatever it is you do. It's not that. What God really wants from us is, when we fast, we connect to Him. We connect to Him by our spirits. There's this saying about fasting. It says that you basically suppress your flesh, or subject your flesh, so that your spirit can thrive. So you subject your flesh, you humble yourself, you humble your flesh, the Bible days will say they humbled themselves. In the Old Testament, you say we humbled ourselves. Even in Isaiah chapter 58, which is a very popular verse for fasting, that really talks about how we should fast. It says you humbled yourself. So it's a humbling it's a humbling act. We fast not just to stay away from food, but to humble ourselves so that we can really be in a position, like reposition ourselves, so to say, so we can get from God. So when we say we want to fast, I would rather we schedule a time for it. And you see why I said it's best to schedule a time for fasting and not just to fast when you are doing other things or when you know your schedule cannot change. And you may say, hey, my week is always hectic and crazy, even Monday to Sunday. Yeah, there's a way you can work around it, but I still feel like it's best to schedule times for these things, because fasting is not just an exercise you just do on the run. I believe it is something that you do with a very heavy intent. Like, you do it with an intention, you do it for a reason. You don't go about playing with it, because it's a very, very strong tool. It's a very, very strong act. You don't just do it, helter seketa, and you know what I mean? Helter seketa and taka. I don't know what it is, but you don't just do these things just because you want to do them. You do them genuinely because there is a purpose to it. And motive really matters to God when we do things, even sometimes spiritual things. It's best for us to always check ourselves and just be like, why am I doing this? Why have I decided to do this thing? Is there a motive, ulterior motive, other than to glorify God? And that's just what this fasting is. If you read the book of Isaiah chapter 58, he was talking about how they were just trying to show that they love God, trying to show that they are delighted by the ways of God, because they fasted physically. So they were doing it as a physical act and not a spiritual act. So it was more of, oh, we are making our flesh look humbled, as opposed to making our spirit be humbled while connecting. Because you can't go to God with your pride, you can't go to God with crowns. You go to God bowed down. You go to God, you basically put down them crowns, them Instagram likes, like Pastor Mike told you, say the Instagram likes, put it down. Your Instagram followers, put it down, bruv, when you're coming to God, because God does not care about none of that. He's less concerned about all them things. What he's really concerned about is how you want to approach him, how you want to connect with him, what you really want from him, what you want to get, what you really want to see. Do you see what I'm saying? So I believe it's a wonderful thing, but at the same time, bruv, you gotta be careful, bruv. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just, that's just the truth of it. That's, even if you think about it, trying to tick the box makes us a Pharisee in a sense. It makes us act like a Pharisee, because if you look at the Pharisees, they were not people who were not conversant with the law. They knew the word, they knew the law, but they didn't know the word anyways. They knew the word, but they didn't know the word. You get what I'm saying? But they were so fixated on, you know, the items, the bullet points, the nitty gritties, but we're not really concerned about the real spirits in it. They were not concerned about the spirit in it. They just wanted to do it as an act. So it was an outward act, an outward appearance, as opposed to it being a proper spiritual, meeting or phenomenon. They were more concerned about the fleshy part. They were concerned about the earthly path. They were concerned about how it looked to other people, as opposed to how it actually did look to God. So it's like, when we do things like that, it's just making God just shake his head like, bro, what are you doing, fam? What are you doing? You see what I'm saying? But I believe God help us. God will help us. God will help us. And I believe that as you watch this, it would really, help you put your fasting character to perspective, in a sense. Put it in a perspective, put it in a light that it will actually help and bless you. And then you see fruits from it. Because sometimes when we don't get fruits, or when our fasts don't bear some fruits, we tend to blame God or feel like God's time is the best. That's the normal excuse. Sometimes genuinely God's time is the best. But sometimes it's just, it's just us not doing what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do it. But I pray that his mercy anyway stands for us. So what do we do when we fast? If we say we can't watch the Netflix, Disney Plus, and them Amazon Prime and them things. We can't do that. We can't play. We can't just sleep around. What then do we do when we fast? It's just this. It's almost like the same thing we do every morning and night. That's if you do your quiet time every day, anyways. But it's more concentrated. So at that time, you pray, you listen to messages, you read the word, you study the word, you worship, you give thanksgiving. And this is one very important one I realized. You give, you intercede. These two things, I believe they are now really important, in the sense of, if you read the book of Isaiah chapter 58, which is like the go-to chapter about fasting. God actually spoke about feeding the hungry or the needy twice in that chapter. So he's very particular about us giving. He was like, give this, loose bonds, you know, lift the yoke of oppression and wickedness and things like that. But he was very particular about giving. So God wants us to give even when we fast. Now, if you say, "Oh, I'm working," so if I work Monday to Sundays, for instance, which I don't believe anybody will do that. But I mean, you can't say some jobs require that you work on Sundays. Like if you're a doctor or something. So how do I fast? How would I make my fast work? How would I make it worth it? Well, if you work in an environment where you can play music or listen to music, for instance, if you're a doctor who's on call, who just goes around, speaks to people, I don't know, but you have to look for a way where you continue um you know injecting spiritual things into your spirit at that moment, during that frame of time. That's why I said I believe it's something you should schedule. So you should look for days or a day that you are free, that you can position yourself properly to do these things. Because if you're working, you're talking, you're relating, people want to talk to you, people want to just make banter, people want to just chat with you. And sometimes you can't say, could you just move? You can't say that. You genuinely have to like try to engage them for a little bit before telling them you have to do something else. So over and over and over and over time, when that keeps happening, you just get tired and angry. And because you don't want to be angry while you fast, you just let it go. So that's why I say I believe it should be a scheduled thing. But in a place where you can schedule it, fam, listen to messages, listen to music, listen to worship songs, deep worship songs. I don't mean random, scratching the surface kind of songs. I mean profound songs. I don't know. You should have a playlist. I don't know. I have a playlist, and I believe everyone will have a playlist. For me, now I have a playlist for when I want to sleep, when I want to work, when I want to work out, when I want to do all them things. But I believe you should have some playlists where you just listen to wholesome songs. Wholesome songs. I don't believe anybody has anything other than wholesome songs, spiritual songs. I believe if you're a Christian. And so it's like, that's just it. You listen to these things. You continually listen to them, even while you work, even while you're doing whatever you're doing. And if it is during the week and you're in a work environment where you can't necessarily listen to these things, then I would say maybe you should reschedule it to another. Hey, I know. It just ended abruptly like that. Sorry about that, but it was something I couldn't control to an extent. But I do hope you wait till the next episode comes out so you can enjoy the rest of it. And this happened because I'm just trying to keep to the system of the Limping Helpers podcast, which is to give you concise videos that you can just ingest quickly and go on with your day. Go on with something tangible, but at least a concise bite. So yeah, it had to happen, and I hope you do come back when the new episode comes on, and you have like a continuous flow of the whole topic, of the whole thought process, basically, of what God is helping us do. So I do hope you stick with the Limping Helpers, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, cheers.